Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Now today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to revisit the Night magazine article, or at least a section of it, before moving on. Now, I only did one article for Night, and I was a little bit shocked to know that Night was a gentleman's magazine, because I really didn't even know what kind of a magazine it was. I had written for a feminist newspaper. I'd written for a computer magazine, and I'd never written for a gentleman's magazine before. My mom, I sent her a copy of the newspaper, and she said it was so hot she had to put it in a drawer. But Night was sort of modeled on the same kind of the same kind of strategy as Playboy and Penthouse, in which there would be literary content there among the semi-pornographic content. Naked ladies. So what I want to do is I want to return to one of those ladies. I had put in there Candy Darling, Bridget Polk, Viva, and Andrea Feldman. And what I didn't tell you, because I just didn't have the heart to say it, and it seemed, in such a short little video, it seemed like exploitation. But Andrea Whips committed suicide. She jumped off of the balcony of her beautiful apartment, Manhattan apartment, Upper East Side. Now the story I heard, and actually I read in Jim Carroll's book, that Andrea invited all her boyfriends, or former boyfriends, to, I think we have a visitor, all her former boyfriends to the event, which must be a terrible event. Now, Andrea told me that she and her girlfriend, Geraldine Smith, had taken one LSD trip a day for 2 years. Now that is enough to fry anybody's brains. And they frequently had these death images, and I didn't have a copy of this. I found it. Oops. Oh gosh. Alright, let's get this up here. Here we go. This is a copy of one of the photos I took of Andrea and Geraldine. And you see here, Geraldine is playing a corpse. Well, in the background, Andrea holds a big book about Alice in Wonderland. It's really hard to see here, but I'll show it to you again later. In any event, when I heard that they had taken all those LSD trips, I was kind of amazed, because LSD really wasn't that big a popular drug, something you would take every day, because LSD was going to shock your system. And sometimes it took more than a day for it to come out of your system. So if you took it on Tuesday, on Friday, those same chemicals were probably going through your bloodstream and affecting you. So these girls probably never had a chance to get sober. And there was a lot to be said about LSD. It was talked about quite frequently back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s because of the LSD champion, and his name was Timothy Leary. Now, you guys probably heard of Timothy Leary. Ant. You may have heard of Timothy Leary. Timothy Leary was a Harvard professor, a psychologist. He got involved in LSD. He had a whole big group of people who surrounded him. At one point he had a LSD commune in upstate New York. When he had a motto: turn on, tune in, drop out. You know, for a grown man like Timothy Leary, maybe he could handle it. I'm not so sure he handled it, but he certainly had a fascinating life. But kids like Andrea and Geraldine, it does really seem quite unfair for grown men to be peddling this drug that will hurt children. And it's going to hurt children because back in the day, you would hear many, many stories of people who took LSD and ended up killing themselves because they weren't able to handle it. So she was a sweet little girl. I feel bad. Now, I have here some memorabilia from Andrea, and this was given to me by the director of the Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh. I went there and he gave me a lot of material to use for my stuff. At that time I was working on a book and working on the photo. I was still working on those photographs for John. And this to me was very fascinating about Warhol's time capsules. And these papers that I'm going to show you were part of Warhol's time capsules. Warhol had a box, and everything that came across his desk on a given date, he would put in the box. Then he would seal the box. So about the time the museum opened, the people who worked at the museum and worked for Warhol were going through these boxes and cataloging them. And there was all kinds of stuff in them. I mean, invitations to parties, letters, deeds. Warhol owned quite a bit of property. Exhibitions. And what I have here that they gave me is a letter that Andrea wrote to Warhol on his birthday greeting. And, oh my goodness, I don't know, can I see this? Whoops, nope. Well, let me see what I can do. I will put it here, and then maybe we'll be able to see it. Maybe. Yep. Happy birthday. And it's her handwriting. And it says, I guess I love you. I miss you very much. Hope to see you soon. San Francisco is fabulous. Miss New York, though. I will return when I want to return. I think you will miss me just as much as I miss you. Great time. Happy birthday. Every day you wake up and I think about, every day you wake up and I think about me, just like I think about you. How are the movies coming along? Say hello to Paul, Nico, Ingrid. I think that's Edie. It looks like Edie. Yeah, it's like Edie. I thought she was E-D-I-E, Sedgwick. It's spelled E-T, E-A-T-I-E. All understand, listens to me or love you. No time to listen. I am your wife. Thanks all. Little late, remember. I love you, Andy. Andrea Warhol. That's where she signed her name, Warhol, because she said she was Andy's wife. And now we're going to this other little page that they gave me. It says, Andrea to, oh my goodness, Andrea to, that's worse. Andrea to my husband. I drove a big black Cadillac once, and every day part falls off, but Cadillacs have to be apart. Andrea Warhol. Here's a little sketch she made of Andy. And of course, Andy took this and put it in his time capsule. This one says, everybody makes mistakes but you and me, and lately I've begun to wonder about you. So yes, a lot of the people that Warhol collected during his filmmaking career and hung out with him in various times became addicted to drugs. Well, I don't know if they always were addicted to drugs. As I said, most of them were quite young. Andy was older than the rest of them. I'm saying they were quite young and they didn't know what they were doing. Basically, a lot of them just lived on the edge. They had no money. They had no jobs. And some of them did have money because some of them were the children of wealthy people. And they could afford to hang out, take drugs, but not forever. So these are some of the people who died of drug overdoses. One, Jackie Curtis, heroin addiction. Tiger Morse, amphetamine addiction. Eric Emerson, heroin addiction. Andrea Feldman, suicide.